Hello, Baggies fans. Welcome back to episode 8 of the Lord's My Shep-pod. I'm Jesmal Holland, and I'm joined, as always, by Andy Johnson. Today, we have a wonderful guest. We have current first-team player Brandon Thomas-Asante with us. Now, before we get into the introductions, just a quick recap on what this podcast is all about. This is the hypothetical world of Albion players, past and present. From dream roomies to dream scenarios of scoring goals, we cover it all, and the conversation takes us off into some weird and wonderful places. So without further ado, we've got Brandon with us today. Brandon, thank you for joining us. I know you've heard a lot about this podcast, and I know you've heard a lot about the man sat opposite you as well, Andy Johnson.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and I've been excited to meet the man who gave me the new nickname,
The Wasp.
The Wasp. We love it. So no, it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've had this one in the diary for a while, haven't we? And we've been knocked back so many times. But when I was speaking to you last night about this, I said to you that AJ was buzzing to meet you, and there was no pun intended. He called you the Wasp. No pun intended whatsoever. But is that the first time you've ever been called a Wasp?
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to say it is the first time.
I meant it in a very nice way. It's just, I love how you play your energy and your enthusiasm. You must be a nightmare for defenders because you just don't stop, and you're obviously, one of the fans' favourites, and rightly so.
No, I appreciate it massively. No, genuinely, even I think obviously coming into the club, obviously I feel really comfortable, and I've been here a little while now, but coming in and sort of having the recognition from legends like yourself, do you know what I mean? It's a bit strange at the beginning because you don't realise the sort of eyes that are on you, and obviously I'm trying to plug away and make my name at the club. But yeah, to hear that recognition and to hear that I've got a little bit of got that support really is really encouraging for me. And I know I believe there's a lot to come, but already I'm really happy with the support that I've received. So yeah,
legend.
I know, yeah. He can come again, can he?
You've overcooked that one, Brandon, a bit.
Nah, come on.
Was it 2 promotions and a diving header in the FA Cup?
Let him know.
That was probably my only goal.
And a cross at Birmingham City.
And a cross at the Blues, yeah. 1-0 win. 1-0 win. Obviously, I was known for my goal scoring attributes, Brandon, a bit like yourself. Usually doing scissor kicks and scoring from ridiculous places where you shouldn't even really be shooting, but I don't know how you do it, but it goes in.
I watched your... when they said obviously I want to be a goal scorer, so I used to watch your clips growing up.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I watched Bobby Gold's. I did.
That's awesome.
Right, Brandon. I know I've briefly gone through the structure of this podcast, but this is your ideal match day. So we cover from the night before the game and the person that you're rooming with, to the night after the game and the hopefully celebratory post-match drink and meal that you're indulging on after a successful match day. So we'll delve into your world, but before we kick off, we always do this, we have a little brain teaser, and it's always structured towards the guest that we have. So this is where I ask the two of you to have a little think throughout the podcast. We'll come back to it at the end to hear your thoughts on it. So your one is, how many appearances has Brandon made and how many goals has he scored for the Albion since joining in the summer of 2022? Today is March the 5th, that's the day of filming. So as of today, I want to know at the end of the podcast how many appearances you think you've made for the club and how many goals you think you have scored.
Interesting. So we usually mention or recognise players when they get to 50 or 100 and things like that. I'm just trying to wrap my brain now whether or not
Yeah, and I'd like to have... ideally had the ratio a little bit better than it is. So can we leave a bit of a gap between the goals and the game? But
it's not that bad at all.
So what's it? How many appearances and how many goals?
How many appearances has Brandon made and how many goals has he scored at the time of filming, which is March the 5th today?
Okay. He's probably scored more goals than I have in my whole career at this point.
Probably.
Yeah. It's got to be close.
It's got to be close. Should we get things started?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's kick off. So, Brandon, first question, it's the night before the game and you have the opportunity to share a room with any player, past or present. You can pick their brains, you can share football stories, you can learn things as a striker potentially off another front man. Who would you choose your dream roomie to be?
Ooh. It's do people normally, are they quick fire with this? Because I'm like,
some people take a long time to answer.
Yeah.
And they skirt around it, don't they?
yeah, it's a hard one. I don't know which, because you could go the person who you've never played with, but is like an inspiration sort of thing, or I could go with. I'd probably gonna go this route, which is like previously, when I was sort of in my younger years, I came up with MK Dons, and a player called Kieran Agard, who was a senior player in the squad. He'd come through at Everton. He'd played for Arsenal, academy wise, and then he'd had a good career. And scoring goals, he was a real poacher. But also as a man, like he was a very just, you know, those people that you meet in football, you just think, wow, you're gold sort of thing. And he looked out for me and gave advice, and even now he's into like his entrepreneurial side of things, which is something that inspires me a little bit as well in terms of alongside and after career. So in many ways, we just never used to run out of things to talk about, really. So I'd say Kieran Agard, yeah.
Are you one of those blokes, Brandon, that thrives off having an older figure and an older head, almost like coaching you in the same team? Obviously, you've still got so many years of playing professional football. You're still a young man yourself. You've still got the best years ahead of you. But have you always been someone that has appreciated a wise head that has given you a few pointers?
Yeah, I think I've always been fortunate enough to have, you know, really really good sort of, whether you say role models or just people who have done a lot in their career. And I talk to the likes of Grady and like Cedric and some of the boys about it a lot. Like, I think the people who I've got like almost like a reverence sort of respect for are the ones who, they're just really nice people who you wouldn't want to disappoint them in the slightest, because of just like how, even when I've been younger, like if you could say, for example, I think Dean Lewington from MK Dons, I think he might have the most appearances of.
I think he passed 900 recently, didn't he?
Yeah,
a few weeks ago.
Exactly. So like, I remember being in year 1, year 2 at school and watching him at Wembley in the JPT final, and then I played with him when I was 17, and even now until last week we speak. So like, players like that, obviously here we've got so many players who have had amazing careers. Livers last year, for example, and the boys who are already here. Eric's had an amazing career, you know, and throughout. So I always really, you know, listen to those sorts of figures, and as well as obviously you've got younger ones who sort of look up to me to a degree as well, who I then want to emulate that too, and just impart whatever I can, really.
It's interesting, Brandon, that Jez sort of went down the route of, you know, rooming with another striker or another attacking player, but I always thought that, you know, you'd get a lot of benefit from chatting to defenders. You know, what don't they like? What is it about a striker you don't like? You know, because I always think that if you go to the opposite end of the spectrum, you can get like a totally different view of, you know, what you know, you can talk to strikers about your movement and you know, your finishing and things like that, but talking to a defender, you actually learn what don't you like. You know, and we all know defenders don't like running back towards their own goal, and you know, and if you're a big defender, they don't like little balls slid down the side of you. But you know, what is it? What can I do, you know, to be more of a menace to you during a game? And you know, I always think that perhaps talking to the defenders, sort of, you've already mentioned Cedric Kipper, who I think is having an amazing season, by the way, and you know, you can learn so much from them sort of players as well, and also midfield players. You know, how can I? Kevin Campbell for me was brilliant. You know, he'd tell me, he'd say, look, I'm making 2 runs. Every time you look at me, he said, if I'm running towards you, I'm going behind. If I'm running behind, I'm coming towards you. And he said, I'm always making 2 runs. So the first run ain't for you, you know, so do the opposite to, you know, and you learn so much from other players that you know, that you're playing against in the different positions. I just think it's, you know, it's such a valid conversation to be having.
Definitely. Even the goalkeepers as well.
Yeah,
like, I feel like you got, when you were saying that, the ones that bring out to me are more recently, Darnell actually, I mean, it was before a game and he was sort of, you know, encouraging and saying like he would hate to play against a striker like me. And then you've got, I know obviously it's in the heat of the moment and we're sort of encouraging each other, but that's always nice to hear. And I'm always speaking to Eric and Bartz as well, because they've played a lot of games, both of them top flight and whatnot, and they see my attributes, and I like to think that like I've got a bit of a variety to the sort of things that I can do, and they sort of say like which bits are not so, like, for example, I love I just love playing football.
Yeah,
so
that
like,
comes across.
Yeah.
It really does come across. It's brilliant to see you out there with a smile on your face all the time. You know, it's brilliant.
Probably a bit too much. Huh?
I don't think you can smile too much.
Yeah, like my dad always says to me, like, sometimes it's almost like you love the game too much. So like I would just want to have the ball at my feet, and maybe I might overindulge in dribbling one day, and the boys would say to me, look, at this point, just trust me, if we're around the halfway line, get it, set it, for example. And when we're in this part, that's where we need you to go and do what you want to do, and sort of thing. So just hearing that sort of side of things, and even in training, even when I first joined, actually, I remember my first 2 or 3 training sessions, I always came up against Barts. Yeah. I don't know whether, thinking back, Brucey might have been just testing me out.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
Yeah, probably. But I remember I would sort of, as I would receive it, I would receive it immediately on my back foot. And I guess it's something that maybe, and all respect to League 2, because I always think that it's quite underrated, but I think I probably got away with just little things like that, like constantly thinking that I would have an extra yard, and he just came and smashed me the first few times. And then about probably the next week, he says to me, like, if you literally, all you have to do is receive it on the other foot, and all of a sudden I'm in trouble. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like you say, those are really really important conversations to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's really interesting to hear, isn't it? The insight from a player on the pitch out there.
It is, and it's lovely how the game's changed, because, you know, you've got older pros, and as Brandon said, you've got younger pros as well, that, you know, you're sharing advice. You know, years and years ago, they wanted to keep you down, the older pros, because you were coming to take their place, you know, whereas now it's, you know, everyone's sharing and helping each other, and I think that comes across on the pitch. I mean, your relationship with the other strikers, you know, certainly DK, Daryl, you know, you when he was fit and playing, you kind of shared the position, if you like, and, you know, it worked really well, but there was no sort of jealousy or animosity between you. You know, you embraced each other as you swapped places, and, you know, it was a really, you know, one stage you were battling for goals and things like that, you know, and it was brilliant to see. And, you know, you'd tee him up and then come off and you go on and grab the goal, and vice versa, you know, and it worked really, really well. And, you know, I think it's things like that really come across to the fans, and you know, it shows it on the pitch. It's that everyone's together.
Wow, no, that means a lot, and I do feel like that. Even obviously that it started off with sort of me and Daryl, and then more recently, obviously Magic came in the summer, for example, and obviously all being around a similar age and whatnot. We're really looking forward to sort of seeing how that dynamic works. We've not actually all been fit at the same time, but we're all looking forward to when that does happen.
How did that work when you Bristol City away? Sorry, we're getting off the track a little bit, but Bristol City away, when we went 2 up front, and it was great to see from my point, because nobody plays with 2 up front anymore. You know, it's old fashioned, and you know, and I get that, but you seem to have a real connection, little round the corners, overs, and things like that. And it was kind of like watching new football, but in an old way. And it was you know, we saw the goalkeeper take a goal kick the other week. It was brilliant. I loved it. You know, instead of passing out from the back, I mean, I was cheering. Yes, a goal kick. But, you know, football's evolved so much. You know, a striker's position now is totally different to sort of my era. You know, you're asked to do totally different things, and, you know, it must be, well, you're used to it, I guess, but for me it's very alien. But I enjoy watching it when it works, and it does most of the time. It's I've got a little bit grayer since since it started, but it's great stuff.
No, I really even speaking on that day, I mean, we're both currently sort of coming back. We're both close to returning now, which is an exciting time. But we both stepped out and we were sort of doing a positional passing thing, and we both said to each other, "Hey, this is like Bristol away."
Yeah.
So that feeling. I mean, personally, I've maybe in academy days and through, like, I sort of relish playing with. I'm happy to play on my own up front, and also I enjoy playing with another striker. And I think that was an example of a day where I mean, that day we'd spoken like just before, saying like we would like to play with each other at some point. And when it came, it just felt natural, as you say. So,
it was good. It was exciting.
Yeah, no, it felt really good. And I'm sure we've got that to look forward to when we both get back. And obviously you got Callum Marshall and obviously Andy Vyman, who another player who, like, I growing up I watched a lot, like in the Premier League at the Villa and whatnot. And just another really, we've got such a good squad. Do you know what I mean?
We have.
So hopefully we can get the business done.
That that link up between you and Josh at Bristol City. I think regular listeners and viewers to WBA Radio and WBA TV are probably sick and tired of hearing me and AJ talk about that. It's at least once every 2 games.
Yeah, well, it was magical. It was, for 2 players that hadn't really played together, you just had that click. I mean, years ago, football was, there was the pairing at the back. There was the pairing in midfield and the pairing up front, and that was the spine of the team. Anything else around that didn't really matter. Wingers were wingers, and but
Jed's fuming.
oh yeah, or fullbacks were fullbacks. You know what I mean? It was the spine of the team where you had to have that pairing because you had to work together. A winger worked with a fullback.
Yeah.
But the pairings through the middle were really critical, and that was just for 2 players that hadn't played with each other before was incredible.
Should we close this answer off? Kieran Agard?
Yeah, we'll give him that. Yeah, definitely.
There we go. Next one. You have the opportunity to play for any manager, past or present, in the world. Brandon, now don't feel any pressure because
he was going in quick.
Current players have come on here before and they have felt pressure to say the current manager, obviously. You don't want to annoy your manager. I can guarantee you that Carlos Corberán will not be annoyed if you were to say Sir Alex Ferguson or who else? Arsene Wenger, for example. So who would you have liked to have played under?
Ooh.
At any point in time?
This is a tough one. Oh, okay. Don't.
This is your ideal match day. There's no judgment here.
2 weeks' wages are coming your way. You know that, don't you? I've heard about you being late and fined all the time anyway, so, it's...
I've had a clean month. We need to let this ride. We need to stretch that. But what would I say? Do you know what? To save everyone's time, I'm going to go with the one that's on my mind. I grew up as an Arsenal fan. Premier League legendary manager.
George Graham, then?
It's not George Graham. But yeah, Arsene Wenger. Just obviously the testimonies from all of his previous players, I think speak to his man management, and obviously it was kind of revolutionary when he first came to England, and the philosophy that he embodied, and the real analysis of the physical part of the game, as well as obviously tactically and talent sort of honing. And I'd like to think that I feel like I've got stuff in the tank, and he seems like a manager who is really he likes unearthing, So I would probably say, Arsene Wenger.
It's funny how you say he was revolutionary. We said he was he ruined football because before that we were eating what we want, drunk what we want. I mean, there was players smoking and all sorts back then. And then Arsene came along and it was water and pasta. And if you didn't get on board that bus, then you were left behind. But
saying that,
it was incredible. Yeah. I mean, I listened to another radio show most days, and while I'm out and about, and Martin Keown's on there, and sort of from 10 a.m. till 1, and he says as a manager he was second to none for who he's worked for, and he's worked for some managers, looking back, and he said he never ever lost his temper. He was, and they all thought he was a little bit of a soft touch when he first came because of that, but he wasn't. He just treated people with respect, and he got the best out of players individually and collectively as a team. And apart from Ferguson, who was a different manager to Arsene Wenger, but I think you're right, he revolutionised football, certainly in England, and did a great job, and his legacy is still there for all to see today.
What do modern players want from managers now, Brandon? Because I imagine it was very different.
Well, apart from a new contract.
That would be a good start.
A new contract and start 11 every week.
Yeah.
Apart from
happy player.
I don't know the role on that.
But for you, Andy, what you would have wanted from a manager, what you would have appreciated, might be very different compared to what Brandon and the lads in the current Albion team.
I don't think it is. I think you want to be treated fairly and honestly. If you're having a bad time, you want the manager to understand you as an individual first. and then understand the individual has to understand his role within the team. Then and if you're the sort of player that responds to a kick up the backside, then that's what you expect to get, because that's what the manager's job is, to understand how to get the best out of you. But a kick up the backside isn't disrespectful. It can be done in a respectful way. Some players, need an arm around them. They can't handle the confrontation of a kick up the backside, so they need to be protected a little bit and arm around them. It's what you want from the manager is to understand you and to have respect for you as a human and also as a player. And don't ask me to do something that I'm not capable of doing because you're going to make me look stupid. And I don't think that's ever changed.
No, yeah.
No,
I'd agree. Definitely. I think that, and what came to mind with that is just a manager who believes in you. Even seeing obviously I saw the comments that Jurgen Klopp made about West Brom, which was we came across, which was nice. But seeing them in the recent cup final and playing those young players, for example, I was really thinking about like what it must have took to put them out there, and also how you equip them, because some of them I don't know if some of them had even played Premier League at that point, and to be thrown into a cup final is massive. And I thought, if I was one of them, you just want to feel like, if you felt like the manager believed in you, it could add, especially at a time like that where you've not quite established yourself, it can add another 40% to your performance.
Yeah, of course it can, yeah.
Just knowing, all right, he thinks that I'm able to play in this game.
Yeah.
I've not done it before, so I'm not quite sure, but all right, if he says it, we're going to try a bit.
But not only that, if he throws you in and it doesn't go right, the manager protects you. That's what you want. You want him to stand up and say, we see it. We see it all the time, don't we? Certainly with Carlos now. Yeah. He wants you to play a certain way, and it's playing out from the back. If there's a mistake to be made, it's his fault. He says, no, that's how I want them to play. And you want a manager that trusts you, but is also he's got your back, sort of thing. If it does go wrong, it's his decision. He's asked you to do that. So I think those sort of things, I don't think they've ever changed in football.
So it's not just cliche. A manager's, the way that he talks to you, the way that he treats you, the way that he believes in you, all of these things have a massive impact on a player's ability to perform on a Saturday.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think it will be. This is where like the art of management comes in, because I'm sure there might be players, as you say, Andy, where they might require a bit of, like, a kick up the backside. I think for me, probably at times, I think it's a balance, but I think definitely the one thing I've probably had in the past, which was I would say a mistake, is sometimes if a manager thinks that a player isn't motivated, for example, and they try and persuade, how would I say it? For me, personally, I always feel like there's nothing, if you tell me that there's something that I can do to make me better, I would never not do it, I feel like it's important to understand your players really well, to know, all right, it's not because he doesn't want to do something, it's because maybe he doesn't understand, or he needs to work on a skill, for example. And I think that's sort of something that's really important as well, just to understand the psychology of the players. But yeah, definitely an arm round and understanding that balance to get the best.
Locking in Arsene Wenger?
Yeah, we'll lock him in.
I love this question. This is one of my favourites. Stadiums. Your ideal stadium to play at. We've had some wonderful answers, haven't we, Andy? The last guest that we had, Andy Hunt, he lived in Belize for a few years.
Wow.
He still lives out there, doesn't he?
I think he was saying he lives in the Netherlands now.
Oh, that's
or
right.
Maybe he's back and forth, I think he was saying.
Yeah.
But he's lived there for a long time, and he had a family holiday to Mexico, and they went to the Azteca, which is a stadium that we've never had that answer before.
No.
It's one of these legendary stadiums, but because it's so far away, and with the greatest of respects, teams in Europe don't play in Mexico very often, if at all. It never gets answered. But I thought that was a really interesting one. So I'm just wondering, Brandon, which would be a dream stadium for you to play at?
Yeah, that makes me feel a bit inadequate now. I was going to go with one of the San Siro. It's like pulling up Belize. Who would have done that? Fair play.
That ain't very good, San Siro, trust me.
No, what would we go? All right. Purely on the fact of, obviously, before here, as everyone knows, I was at Salford City. And where I lived in Salford Keys, which was sort of, basically, I could wake up sort of peep round. It wasn't the best angle, but just out the window I could see Old Trafford. And like when I used to go for a run, for example, on a day off or something, like I would always run past there. Obviously on a match day for United, it was really annoying because I couldn't get my car in the car park or out. But obviously just being at a club, for example, where there was a lot of obviously everyone was pretty much United there. Yep. Obviously I grew up Arsenal, so I didn't really say that too loud. But yeah, just in terms of the size of the stadium, the legends who'd played there, and yeah, I'd probably say that one sticks in the mind. Like when we've got a cup draw, for example, I was sort of looking out for that. But as you say, there's so many. San Siro could have been up there. It's tough.
Okay, what about the best one you've played in so far in your career?
Apart from the Hawthorns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have been quick with
that. Well, that goes without saying. It's all right, that's why we have Jez.
Yeah, Jez helped me out.
Politically correct on the...
Yeah, he knows. Gift of the gab, bless him. I'd probably... Well, when I say I played at Wembley, I think it normally comes with like a... It was basically the Checker Trade trophy.
Does it matter?
But if I wish I could go and say, like, yeah, like FA Cup final. Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've never played at Wembley, ever. So it's, it's one up on me. Just to play there in whatever competition it's in, you should be over the moon with that. I mean, it must be incredible.
Del Piero wasn't there, so I can't.
Well, no, but,
Yeah, but...
Did you win that game at Wembley?
Yeah, we won. I scored a penalty in the shootout. And I'd missed in the semi-final, but basically because I think it was to do with COVID, the final was a year after. So I was like, "There's no way I'm not stepping up. Like we need to amend this." And then we ended up winning on penalties, which was amazing. And yeah, just playing there. Obviously, as well, the crowd wasn't there, which was annoying because the season before. I mean, maybe it helped us out because it was against Portsmouth. Yeah. And they'd sold 45,000 tickets and we'd sold 5,000. Yeah, I bet. So I think, and then obviously they all got told unfortunately they couldn't come. So I think
talking about COVID, how did that as a player? Yeah. I mean, me and Jez, we were in empty stadiums, weren't we? It was terrible for commentating.
We saw Albion beat Chelsea 5-2 at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
And that game, that day, that result should be so much more than it is.
Yeah. I mean, going to Wolves when we got...
isn't. We won at Wolves 3-2 in January. Again, that should be so much more than it is.
It should.
And it's just football. We found that football lacked...
It wasn't football, was it?
Heart, didn't it?
Yeah. So my question was what I was getting around to was, what was it like as a player?
Yeah. I mean, for what I can remember... It
was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I know my memory. This is like, what chance have I got to remember in a meeting? Do you know what I mean? I can't remember.
That's why it gets fined.
That's right.
This explains it. This is a little bit of an insight into But so our season, I believe, did that Premier League season finish? Every season.
So the year that we were in the Premier League, it finished with us having a home game against West Ham, and I think there was about 6,000 Albion fans that were able to attend the game. Okay. So the last few games, supporters were allowed, but the majority of the season was behind closed doors.
Okay, because I'm trying to get the timescales right, but our season got curtailed. So, halfway through the season, we got to, I think it was
February.
December. Was it February?
February.
All right, we got to around then. And the games got cancelled, and we didn't.
Yeah. Oh, March. Sorry, it was March.
Was it March? Okay, yeah. So for a long time, we just didn't play. It wasn't that we had less fans or.
How did you find that? Because you train to play, don't you?
Horror.
I mean, I used to like training, and everyone, and I'm sure you like training as well. But there has to be a purpose to it, and the purpose is the match. 100%. So not to have a match. I don't think I'll get my head around it. You're not a professional footballer, you're a professional trainer, aren't you? It must be really difficult. 100%. Really difficult.
It was tough, and we couldn't go into the training ground for a long time. So we did Zooms together where we'll just be holding a plank, looking into the laptop, and we're just hoping that.
But that's great fun.
Do you know what I mean? Like we're literally messaging each other on the players chat, like guys, like what's
Who's
going
doing
on
the plank?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah, we all are.
like, who's actually going to turn their screen on? Like, but yeah, so that was tough. And then a lot of the road running, which actually a lot of players got a few little injuries that they wouldn't normally get because you're on different terrain and whatnot. But yeah, as you say, just mentally not having the buzz of looking forward to a game
and being together, because the main thing you miss when you retire is
being around
the lads. You know, you're with like 20 or 30 men every day.
Yeah.
It don't get any better than that.
That's it.
AJ's favourite one is that when he retired, he used to go around Tesco for 3 hours, just bumping his trolley into anyone and everyone,
just to chat to someone,
start a conversation.
My best friend was called Frank. He was a Jack Russell, and I used to bump into random people at Tesco's just to have a chat. I was just so bored.
How we doing?
Yeah.
Did he start looking at his hand after a while?
Honestly, mate, honestly, I could tell you my day. You know, Holmes under there. I used to watch the news till it sort of repeat. Then Holmes, Jeremy Kyle was on then.
Oh yeah.
Then Holmes under the hammer. Then I go out for a walk with the dog. Then I go to Tesco every day, shopping every day, just to chat to people.
Yeah, some of the things that I ended up like, some of the bad TV that I ended up watching just because of that. I was like, yeah. Thank God we're out now.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You don't need to worry about bumping trolleys in Tesco's, Brandon. You've still got plenty of years ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope so.
So Old Trafford.
It's a hard one.
Old Trafford / Wembley.
Yeah, I think. I feel like you've got some up your sleeve that you think I might be missing some.
Me?
No, it's your day. It's not ours.
It's not about me.
It's nothing up our
sleeves. I need the elders. This is what I'm talking about.
Ain't Paul Daniels, you know what I
mean? Okay, well, yeah, we'll lock in on that.
Okay.
Old Trafford / Wembley.
Music has become so important in football in recent times. I know it was important in AJ's day, but you see the lads getting off the coaches now, and you've all got your headsets on, you're all in the zone. It's all clearly very important to you all. So what's your perfect pre-match tune that you listen to get you hyped up for games?
I do go through phases, to be fair. But there's a few different ones. I think, who am I enjoying right now?
ABBA.
To be fair, I went to watch Mamma Mia when I was, how old would I have been?
Oh, be careful now. Come on, you're going to upset me.
Oh, no, all right, I won't say how old I was. No, but that was an absolute... Can I just say, I'm not a massive movie person, but that movie, it just sticks in my mind. And then I got the love for ABBA, who I didn't really have a clue about. So then, like, when people hear me singing Dancing Queen and that, they're like, are you all right? But, do you know what I mean? Like, we do have a bit of ABBA knowledge in there. But I'd probably...
Before John pressed record on the cameras, you were singing a bit of Elvis down the microphone.
You were, yeah.
That's it. We got a bit in the lot. I feel like I could probably surprise a few heads with the old knowledge. But
where's the Elvis come from? Is that your parents or? I mean, I know a bit of Elvis because my dad used to play it in the house all the time.
Well, I would probably this might have come. I think I might have told you, but I used to dance, but I did a lot of different genres. But at one point, it was like, well, when was I dancing to Elvis? Was it disco? But it was like really energetic, and so we'd have a partner and stuff, and like I think Hound Dog was like one of the ones I used to dance to. Yeah,
good song.
But yeah, so that was quite fun. Did a few different genres. But now, obviously you got like the likes of Thames and Tyler and like Afrobeat sort of style. Then who else? There's one. So there's an artist, Cleo Soul. That how could I forget? But genuinely, just her voice and the words that she's speaking about, and just it's like really positive. And like it's kind of like, you know, I feel like nowadays with music, there's some really like catchy tunes with absolutely no meaning.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I got to a point where it was getting a bit repetitive. I was getting a bit bored of it. But with Cleo Soul, which is like, she has kind of jazz, she has some sort, she really glides on different genres, some reggae sort of styles, some, just amazing.
It's really coming across. You know, I don't know what you guys think. You're very positive. You surround yourself with positivity. Even through music, you want positivity. Yeah. You know, with you know, and you're listening to words that mean things to you, either, you know, spiritually or whatever it is you need to hear. But it's all very geared around positivity.
Nah, thank you for that. It definitely, I think, sort of, I was probably, there was a point where just having a nice bass and just whatever they were saying and didn't really pay it mind. And then I think I started to realize like it actually probably has like more bearing than we probably realize, or personally anyway. You can only speak from personal. But when I started to listen to more positive things, and of course it has to be a good song. It can't just be like my dad making a song. Like I just say, yeah,
my dad used to make loads of songs.
You gotta do your line runs and I'm not gonna go for that. But yeah, so Cleo Soul.
You gotta speed it up, and then you gotta slow it down.
If Carlos made a song, let's not get into that. Don't get me in trouble. But yeah, now I'll probably lock in on Cleo. She amazing, and yeah, she's I'm Christian. She makes some really amazing songs that really sort of encourage in that way as well. So just like you say, with the positive sort of thing, and yeah, I think the more positive input that I can sort of take in, obviously foods as well, but chocolate is really giving me problems at times. Yeah. So but the more positive the input into me, then the more positive the output can be.
But you're a role model to so many young people. You know, not just football fans, but you know, young people across the country, across Europe. You know, you really are a role model. So it's important that you know what you put in is what you get out, isn't it? I guess, and you know, it's really refreshing.
Yeah, no, thank you. I do. Sometimes it feels weird hearing that, but I think sometimes even like just speaking to certain people and then it's like hearing the effect that it has and stuff. It made me sort of think, you know what, like, although I don't see myself as that, if I can sort of, if someone sees me in that way for whatever reason, if I can, like, implore something on them positively, then
well, I said Europe. I mean, it's the world. I mean, the listeners we get are Australia, America. Wow. You know, they tweet in every match day. You know, so you're touching people all over the world effectively. So it's, you know, it's good that you've got such a positive mindset and you ooze positivity.
Just before we get to half time, Brandon, who in the dressing room at the moment has the worst taste in music? Who gets hold of the speakers and everyone just goes, no, not him, take him off that very quickly? Is there an obvious candidate?
See, I've got one in my head. I might be terribly wrong, but
Who
you can
say?
No. Let the superstar do this.
Yeah, go
on. Brandon was about to name drop someone there.
He wasn't. Oh God.
He was about to get another fine, I think.
Probably because he's in charge of fines. Do you know what it is with Jed? No, because he like, so what it was is it probably used to get like passed around between a few of the boys, and then Jed basically made a playlist that is like has a bit for everyone, which is fair. Like that's sort of the best thing to do. And then he's putting on some songs, and everyone's like, "Wait, who's on music today?" Like, looking around, and then Jed's like, "Yeah, no, like what, you didn't know I knew this song," sort of thing. And then like he'll keep on the shuffles going and going, and then some rascal song will come on. And where, like, for example, I just look to the person next to me and both of us are just like, oh my days, what is this? But in the whole, it's good. There's just a few in there that are like pretty wild.
Who were you going to guess?
I was going to say Eric Peters.
Eric.
And that's just
what would come to mind, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've
heard an awful lot of his music, but
that's because it's shocking, probably.
It's probably like everyone's listening to some music. Like, no, let me not get in this conversation. But
I was too embarrassed to get my tape out with tape. We used to have tapes back then.
Get the CD out. Like,
no, there's no CDs. Sony Walkman.
Well, that's Eric never doing a podcast with us.
No, we'll get him to do his music. Bring his decks.
He'd be a great guest. I tell you that. He'd have stories for a while. But yeah, no. And then you got a few boys who I might not. A few creative boys who actually can make music. There's a few anonymous ones, so I'm not going to divulge too much. But I think Grady's got a page for it, and he makes really good music. So I'm happy to drop that in. But a few of the boys have got a bit up their sleeve, and actually, so my son was born a month before I joined, and just before we found out the news that we were expecting, I started to learn how to make music like on the laptop and whatnot. And as soon as I found out the news, like, so I thought, you know what, the mind went elsewhere onto preparing really. But so I really have an interest, and I'd like to learn how to make it at some point. But then I came here, and Grady and a few of the other boys are into it as well. So it's really interesting. Yeah,
he's very creative, isn't he, Grady? In every sense of the word, he's creative on the pitch. He's creative off the pitch. He's big into his art. He's big into his music. He's a very creative guy, isn't he, with everything that he does?
Yeah. He's the way his mind is he's a special man. Definitely. Like sometimes like when you speak to him, you can just see where his mind is taking him. It's like you just know that he's always in creative mode, and I love that, and I can identify with that. But the way he acts on it as well is amazing. Like for example, have you seen his artwork?
I've seen it.
Yeah,
Exceptional. Have you seen it, Andy?
No.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I thought it was a picture, just like, I don't know, like AI or something. But incredible. Yeah,
We'll have to get him on.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have to get him on, and he can draw you.
We should do like a team one.
Yeah, get those live projects.
Yeah, led on Shay's lunch with an apple in your mouth.
Oh dear. Right, Brandon, give us the name of the artist that you wanted to lock in for your perfect pre-match song.
Cleo Soul.
So
Shout out to Cleo Soul.
right, this part of the podcast is where AJ normally gets an absolute pasting from the guest. This is the halftime challenge AJ quiz. Now, we were talking before. I think the score is 5-1. They're not going to help.
No, they're
They are
not.
not going to help. They are not going to help. I think the score's 5-1.
Oh, come on. I'm sure I've won a couple.
This part of the podcast in the last episode was excruciating. Andy against Andy Hunt. Questions such as who scored Manchester United's goals in the 1999 Champions League final. Neither of them had a clue. Telling me that I've made really hard questions. I wasn't about to have that. So let me just go through it again. AJ is familiar with this, but there are 3 topics of questions, 5 questions in each topic. You get to pick one. The person who gets to 3 first will win. You do not shout out the answer, you shout out your name if you think you know it. If you get it wrong, Brandon, and you shouted your name first, it automatically goes to Andy for a chance to answer. So your topics are the mystery round, which is a constant, strikers, which are the questions that we have tailored very kindly for you, obviously.
Yeah, no wonder I don't win. It's all about you, Brandon.
And the other one is music, which could be very interesting based on what we've just spoken about. So if you would like to choose your topic, we will get started.
So the only reason I'm not going to go with music is because when I'm in the medical room, some of what they come out with, like, I haven't got a clue, and then Jacko or like whoever will just know it straight away, and I'm like, wow. So maybe I don't know anything at all. I'm going to go strikers, I think.
Okay. How competitive are you? I know you're obviously a fierce competitor on the pitch, but off the pitch, things like this, any one-on-one games, are you have to win at all costs, or are you quite laid back?
Nah, we need the win.
Yeah.
We need the win.
Yeah.
But
I used to two-foot my 5-year-old kid in the garden when I was playing football because it wouldn't let him beat me.
You desperately need a win.
Hey, you know what I mean? Well, you're stacking the dice a little bit against me here, aren't you? Okay. It's all about strikers, particularly you.
So who's off this off?
We have to be
So what did you have for dinner last night? Be Brandon.
Right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Always.
Question 1. Which forward won the 2022-23 Premier League Golden Boot with 36 goals?
Brandon.
Oh, forgot my name there.
22-23. Yeah, Haaland.
Correct.
I had that one as well.
You're on the back foot already.
I forgot my name on a second.
Sally. Oh, what?
Question 2. Which current Baggies forward has played for Bordeaux in France?
Brandon. Oh, I nearly got my name wrong there. Brando? Josh Madger.
Oh, getting hammered on her.
This could be a whitewash.
Oh, yeah.
Question 3. Remember, you need this to stay in this already. Salomon
AJ.
Question 3. Salomon Rondon.
It's got to be a point for getting his name.
Wore the Yeah. Well, the number 9 shirt for the Albion for a couple of seasons. What nationality was he?
Brandon. Venezuela? No, he weren't, was he? Venezuelan? Yeah.
Oh, as he pulled that out. Honestly, I cannot believe you done me 3-0.
Do you know what? He was like my go-to on FIFA. So like, yeah, it was his headers. Oh my days, just overpowered.
Hat-trick of headers in the Premier League once. Salomon Rondon.
Wow.
Against Swansea.
Absolute baller.
You knew that, Andy, didn't you?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, mate. Oh, well, at least I'm consistent. I lose.
3-0. Do you want the chance to make it 5?
No, come on. What? Humiliation?
Do you want to?
Is that what you're saying?
Short now?
Come on.
We'll go for it. Go on.
Go for 5. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll roll through these. Number 4. Which one of these clubs did the Brazilian Ronaldo, that's R9, for clarification, not play for during his career? AC Milan, PSV, Corinthians, or Sao Paulo?
AJ.
Ooh.
Sao Paulo.
Fair play. I wouldn't have got that. Fair play. What?
He's got the consolation.
This is where I'm good. Once I've lost, all the pressure's off. It's like being 2-0 down. I'll have the ball. It's no problem.
And just to finish it off, question 5. Which former forward is currently 4th on the all-time list for Premier League goals with 187 to his name?
Michael Owen.
Luke likes that one. Producer Luke likes that one. When AJ gets one wrong, it's
I know. And he does it for ages. It's like, that's it.
Longer than
Yeah, you just get it. All you get is
So, Brandon, you have the chance.
4th.
Keep going back and forth. 4th
Okay.
on the all-time top scorer list in the Premier League.
So Alan Shearer.
Oh, is that your answer?
No. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
right, okay.
I'm thinking like.
Right.
You got me.
If I'd have done that, I'd have got the...
I was going to say, producer Luke has let you off there.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Did you get my drift there? All right, So Alan Shearer. Who was? I want to think who was up there. Now I've had a mind blank.
What time's kick off tomorrow?
Yeah,
I was going to say we need to get down to London.
I'm just going to go for what I was thinking. Is it Harry Kane? That was long, wasn't it?
Andy, I'll give you both another go and then I'll give you a clue.
Ooh.
That's mind
Ian
games,
Wright.
that is those.
I know. What's he doing over there? Let's see.
So you got Alan Shearer. Was it Ian Wright second?
No,
Can't.
can't be righty, surely.
Who would have been second?
Thierry Henry.
Okay, one final guess, Brandon, and then I'll start dishing out the clues.
Wayne Rooney.
Oh, that's not bad, that. Go on in, clue.
Played for Newcastle, Man United, Blackburn Rovers.
Brandon. Oh. Andy Cole.
Oh, good shout.
Correct.
Ooh,
I was going to say Andy Cole.
4th. So who was the 3 then? I was going to say that. Who's 3rd? Who's 3rd and 2nd?
Now you're testing me, Brandon.
Sorry,
Should we Google it?
Should we have a look? Sorry.
I think people want to know.
I think it's Rooney, Kane and Shearer. I think.
Oh, Kane's that high? I thought he would have been.
No, because he was going to be, if he'd have stayed at Tottenham, he'd have ended up getting Shearer's record, I think.
Wayne Rooney, 208 in 3rd. Harry Kane, 213 in 2nd. And Alan Shearer, 260 first.
He really is close, isn't he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he's not now. He's at Bayern Munich, but
Probably back soon, won't he?
I would have thought they ain't going to win anything this year. He's gone there to win silverware, and he's not going to get any there either by the looks of it.
He'll be winning the Euros in the summer.
Yeah, nice shout.
I like it.
Euros in
Yeah.
the summer.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So 4-1. Easy.
Yeah.
I don't. I can see the eyes coming from the other side.
I mean, does this to him every week.
just
I
a
mean.
long jab.
I've got long legs.
You'll be demoted from the wasp to the fly.
Yeah, exactly. That fly over there.
The gnat.
Get him on.
Yeah, you must be pleased with that one.
No, I'm happy with it. To be fair, there was a good set of questions. I think that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll moan. I'll get an
Well, you should have won. To be fair, you should have won.
I'll get an aggressive text from him later on. You killed me again.
It's no problem. You know,
Here we go.
humiliated every week in front of thousands of people that listen to this.
Thousands, tens.
Tens of thousands. Hundreds
No,
of thousands.
as in tens,
Oh, tens.
not thousands.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Tens of people.
Tens.
32.
Are we ready for the second half?
Yep.
Definitely.
Dream player to share the pitch with. I mean, you already shared the pitch with Okay Yukujlu, so I mean, we're going to have to ask second favourite to share the pitch with. So,
You know what I mean?
Who would it be?
Would have said the octopus, to be fair. We will go.
Is that what you guys call him?
That's just what I call him.
Is that what you call him, the octopus?
Like I'm pressing him, and I think I've got it, and then he just like reaches the tentacle out and just brings it back in. I'm like, it's really annoying. But this is a tough one because like it's not like your favorite player. Mm-hmm. It's like someone who would complement how you play. You know. Mm-hmm. So now I was thinking, for me, what's crucial for me is like someone behind me, like a midfielder, like a creative midfielder.
An assist king.
And when you think, but now you said that, you've brought another person into my head. I had 3. 2 came to mind, and 1 just came as soon as you said that. And they were, for some reason, Frances Fabregas, Arsenal fan. I grew up watching him, and just some of the passes, even when he went to Chelsea, like Diego Costa would run, and he probably wouldn't even have to look. The ball just lifted in behind into him, and like just that sort of pass is just like, I just love that. Do you know what I mean? Just running in behind, the ball comes in and you just bearing down on the goalkeeper. Juan Mata, I think, of course, he there were ups and downs in his career, but in like for example in United and whatnot. But in terms of his ability, you just don't. It's unquestionable, and he must be like a striker's dream. But Mesut Ozil, just breathtaking. Some of the things that he used to do. And I think just like the passing it into the floor with a bounce just through defenders' legs, and what a player!
It's ridiculous, wasn't it?
Just thinking about it, just give me butterflies.
What was that goal he scored? He scored an unbelievable Champions League goal. Was it for Arsenal against Ludogorets?
That's what came to mind for me. Yeah,
that just deft touch over the goalkeeper. Absolutely stunning, wasn't it? Because a lot of people will say that their favourite goals and their best goals are like when you smack one in from 35 yards, top corner, hits the crossbar and then bounces in, hits the roof of the net, etc. But for a lot of people that are a bit more creative, like players like Mesut Ozil, I think they appreciate an elegant goal more than one that's fired in from 40 yards, as I say.
Yeah.
So you've kind of picked players that are sort of creative playing. I thought you might have gone with a bit of like another striker, sort of like Niall Quinn and Kevin Phillips.
Big man, little man.
Yeah, that kind of partnership. Yeah.
If I was to do that,
I mean, it doesn't happen nowadays, but
one that came to mind just now was Berbatov.
Yeah.
I think that sort of like he's kind of like a bit of a more modern. That might be a stretch, but like Bergkamp-esque, like with the elegant side of things.
Yeah. I mean, Bergkamp was a player.
I mean, like strikers like that who, they can hold it, they can see their teammates around them, like their vision is impeccable.
Yeah.
And they're just relaxed. I can just see him being a player who could, just 1-2s combined, running behind and just But yeah, so he would probably be second on my list. But I'd say Mesut Ozil in terms of just sheerly, I'm sure you could just run and he just finds you, just drop it into the path on the sixpence.
Who's the player in the current squad that the lads enjoy playing with the most? Do you talk about it as a group, Brandon? Do you have like a best player in the team conversation, in the dressing room or anything like that? Like, because that's what happens at Sunday League football, isn't it? There's an obvious best player in the team.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that at the pro level?
Not so much. I don't think so. Maybe it's just the teams that I've played in. There's been like a bit of balance sort of thing. But I think the good thing and that feeling that I really love that we have, especially this year, probably in all my career, just that belief that you look around in every position and you're like, especially when everyone's fit, you're like, well, we're a real force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But off the bat, I mean, obviously Grady's talent speaks for itself, and some of the moments that he's come up with in his tenure here, and obviously you saw glimpses when he was at West Ham before. That's why we managed to claw him here. But then, for example, I look at Darnell, for example, and some of the things that he does technically, I just say to him, you probably shouldn't have even been a right back. Like, just the ball will come into him, and like, just the way that it just meets his foot, and it just like goes exactly. I just think it's just beautiful, some of the things he does. And he got me a couple of assists, so I'm happy with that. That's why he paid me to say this. But yeah, no, we got so many players all around. Moe, like, I went to watch the Coventry game, and like, he'll be getting pressed, and he's just press resistant. Like, he just turn. Same with Okai, like they'll just turn out of traffic, and you're like, wow. But yeah, all around the pitch. So then I think no one sort of could pin it on one. You've got Jed, who he'll run a marathon straight to the game, probably at 800 minutes. Like you just can't pinpoint it on one person. But I think that's probably the feeling that you want in terms of a promotion push.
But it's interesting you're saying that, because that's how it comes across, you know, from a supporter's point of view, and sort of when we were watching, it's a real team effort, isn't it? You know, every player on the pitch has a job to do, and they do it. And, you know, what I've noticed the change since Carlos has been here in particular, that if one of the players makes a mistake, one of his mates has got his back, and they kind of cover up for it, you know, and that's something that we've been lacking here for quite some years, you know, but this team really does seem to have a real gel and a real togetherness about it, and it just, it comes across on the pitch together.
No, I think in fairness to Carlos, the thing that's interesting about that is, I wouldn't say at any point that's something that it didn't get explicitly coached. I think what happened was, but in fairness, I can't remember what game it was, but there was one game that we played, and I guess it's happened on a few instances, but the very first time he showed a clip and we weren't in possession, and I think, or someone lost the ball, probably me. But so we lost the ball, and then the thing kept on rolling, but normally it wasn't. It looked a bit out of what we would normally look out for, and then he paused it, and he just said, like, I wasn't focused on the in-play bit.
Yeah.
But in terms of how, and then he basically zoomed in. I don't know. He's got these effects, and credit to the media, the analysts, but they like spotlighted every player.
Yep.
And you could just see our players just darting back in.
Yeah.
Or like we kind of crowded out. It was like just loads of wasps just going around like something. And then their players were like, and it was their counter-attack, and we beat them to their own counter-attack and just got round it. And before you knew it, we just drowned them out. And he said, like, this is, like, I love this because I didn't tell you to do that, but this is the spirit that we need.
Yeah.
And likewise, he shows sometimes when one player scores, you'll see someone on the other side of the pitch just like, going crazy, celebrating. Like Jason Malumbi he's a top culprit for that. Like he'll literally just do a knee slide like,
on his own.
But that sort of spirit is really, I think it's something special that we found this year. And I don't think it just came from this year. Probably, obviously, a lot of the boys have played together for 5-6 years. But yeah, it's really special.
Yeah.
It's something that seems so organic, and when we've asked Carlos about it as well before in club interviews, and when he's been asked about it in interviews with Sky or the local press, he has never once said that it is something that he has worked on. He has always maintained that it is organic, that it's a team it's a collective effort, it's a team ethos, that you're all together and that you're working hard for one another. And that's really interesting because a lot of managers, they'll say, yep, we need to create this type of environment. Right. And the key word for me there is create, but we haven't had to do that based on what everyone has said. It is natural.
Yeah, I think it. I'm reading Atomic Habits. I'm reading the book Atomic Habits at the moment. And it reminds me of something. I literally just read that page yesterday, but it was saying about, in terms of, it speaks about making, how to, first of all, analyze your habits to see which ones don't serve you and who you want to become, and basically how to make it attractive to changing your bad habit, to get rid of your bad habit. Make your bad habits unattractive so you can get rid of them, and make the new habits, as hard as they might seem, attractive and make you want to do it and it become effortless. And one of the things to make it attractive is to literally highlight it. And I think he's done a really good job at that. He didn't say you have to do this, but in the things that he does value, in the pressing and the recovery runs, he didn't say, oh, like, I need you to. He just said, like, I love this. And it means that now when someone's counterattacking, rather than just getting adrenaline or like getting that feel good of a counter attack. Obviously, for me, that comes naturally when you're running and have a chance of scoring. But now, when they're on the counter attack, you're like, oh, I want to go and be the one to nick that ball back.
Yeah.
And it also, and touching on fatherhood earlier, like that's sort of I've sort of taken to that in terms of, so when little man, like when he's trying to draw like massive on the walls, I'm like, all right, we need to make this a bit unattractive for him now. But I think it's just it speaks to all humanity, all humans, like in making a positive feeling about the certain things that you do value. I think that sort of shapes not just kids but players and just people as a whole. So I think he's done well at that.
Some great answers there.
Yeah.
Some really good answers. I said to you before we started the podcast, Brandon, that the questions only form maybe 5-10% of the actual podcast, and we've gone from talking about Mesut Ozil to Carlos Corberán and the analysts highlighting players running on the analysis that you do. It's crazy, but we'll go with Mesut Ozil for the dream player to share the pitch with.
If you'd said like what was the last question, I would have
no idea.
Oh no, I'm glad you like that as well. 'Cause I've got no idea.
I had to check. Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
I know you'll like this one because I know that it's your favourite thing to do in the world. Score goals. Your ideal scenario for scoring a goal. I mean, since you've been here, you've already lobbed the keeper from 30 yards down at Bristol City. You've already taken the ball out of mid-air against Stoke at the Hawthorns and scored a bicycle kick. I mean, Andy Hunt gave a great answer in his episode, saying, I've already scored my ideal goal and I'm not going to apologise for saying that I've scored at Wembley. So it was interesting to hear his take on it. But what would your perfect goal be in an ideal world?
Did he give... So what was that like a...
So he was saying that his ideal goal would be to score at Wembley, and he scored for Albion in the Division 2 playoff final in 1993.
Oh, wow.
So it could be a World Cup final, it could be an FA Cup final, it could be a hat-trick in a derby game. What would be your ideal scenario for scoring a goal?
Oh, it sounds cliche, but I think I feel so strongly about it. Like World Cup final, just for me, like obviously I think a lot of people talk about the question like Champions League final or World Cup final, and I just obviously both everyone wants to achieve. Like I would like that. I dream of that. You know, that's like a massive like ambition. But the World Cup final, it's just I think it's almost like the first thing that you're introduced to when you first start football. It's like, you know, World Cup final, like World Cup singles, like at the playing at the park or something, and like scoring. It's just like a full circle. Like once you've scoring the winning goal in a World Cup final.
What minute? So you score the winning goal. You score it in the first 10 minutes, or do you score it in the 90th minute?
It can't be 90th because I want my mum to be able to watch, and she has like literal panic attacks at our games. Like if she's like, you need to score in the first half so I can relax. I'm like, Mum, like it's not that simple. Like what? You know what I mean? But so we're gonna say not too late, but kind of late. We're gonna say. But you don't want it to be too early because then say you're like 75th.
It's still the winning goal.
It's still the winning goal. Yeah, so you know you're going to win.
Yeah,
so maybe
it's still the winning goal, but I just think later on, it just adds that little bit more.
Yeah, as late as possible with my parents not having a heart attack, we're going to go for that time. So we're going to say around that like we're going to say 85, gone, 85.
Oh, so you're hanging on for 5 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You've kept her on the edge there.
Yeah, I mean, hanging on. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
What was the first World Cup that you can remember, Brandon?
So, that is weird. Why was I a weird kid? So we used to have. Why did I do that? I remember there was I just remember playing with like an England hat, like we must have bought from the local, just like them plastic, like probably cost 50p, and like just playing. So I was playing in the garden, and there were like loads of insects around, and I was like, I just remember being in like the muck. And like with an England hat, don't ask me why that's like a memory, but it's like a core memory. Like, and I must have been like 4 or 5. What World Cup would Was it Germany? What year was Germany?
Germany was 2006.
I hope I wasn't, because that would have been.
I was going to say you're in the garden then.
It's a bit too old, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. You're losing all your status here, you know that.
Yeah.
2002.
Um,
Japan, Korea.
when I was 7, I was playing. Yeah, so it wouldn't have been that one because I was already playing. I had a bit more to me mentally at that point, I'd like to think. So it was probably the Japan and Korea one.
What's a goal that stands out for you? And can you remember where you were when you saw it?
In a World Cup.
In a World Cup, yeah.
I think it's maybe a cliche one again, but that Shabalala, South Africa.
Yeah, first game with 2010.
First game,
Yeah.
The way he struck it, because and just obviously I think at that point it's fair to say that not a lot of people knew about South Africa. Like I didn't know any of their players. Was Stephen Pienaar in that team?
Stephen Pienaar was in that team.
Okay, yeah, so he would have been the only one. And they were obviously underdogs in like a massive tournament, and then they've done that. Obviously, this the celebration that oh man, and yeah, just it being in Africa and sort of knowing. Obviously, I've grown up with like African culture as well as Caribbean, but obviously relating to South Africa, just the energy was something. It's just something like that I really felt in touch with, and like the vuvuzelas and like just people with all the face stuff and the colours, like it brings back so much memories, like the reds, the yellows, the green. I just remember so much colour to that World Cup, like and just like yeah, it was just such an amazing like memory, and that goal just it's sort of like that was one of the heights of I think what it must have done for that country, like subsequently must be, amazing. But
I always remember the Miller one. Remember when did he run off to the post?
1990.
And start doing that dance.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the celebration I want to see from you on your next goal.
We're
The Miller, over to the corner flag and do that dance. Yeah, I want to see that. Now it's out there on air now. We've got to see it. We've got to see it.
Yeah, we'll bring it 100%.
So we're saying World Cup final in the 85th minute because you want your mom to be able to see it.
Yeah, I think so.
Slightly different, but kind of the same. Who would be the ideal goalkeeper to score a penalty past?
Score past.
Could be past or present.
Yeah, past or present.
You don't have to have played
You scored
with
a few for Albion.
Sorry?
You scored a few for Albion. Penalties.
Oh, yeah. Oh, score a penalty against, yeah.
Now, I think this could go one of two ways. It could be a goalkeeper that you've admired growing up.
Yeah.
So one of the greats, or it could be maybe somebody that you watch on a regular basis that dances on the goal line, tries to put the goalkeepers off, the strikers off. Maybe you get a bit annoyed at that, and maybe you just like to silence them.
Yeah, there's a lot of approaches to this one actually. That's a really tough one. Who would I say? I would go. Do you know who I would go? Shemi's gonna kill me for this. That Nigerian keeper, yeah,
AFCON.
he was really trying to annoy the strikers, and I could just,
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Nudging them, trying to fight everyone. So I'm thinking, like, just to like, do you know what I mean? Just to get a bit of our own back for the Strikers Union. I'm not quite fully sure of his name actually, but yeah, Shemi's mate.
Would you ever get involved in any of that, Brandon? You know, if on the pitch, are you someone that stays quiet, or do you give it out a little bit? Because there are different personalities, aren't there, on the pitch?
Yeah. I wouldn't say. I'm not someone who will go to find that. Mm-hmm. One thing about me is that, and players who have played with me for long enough and stuff, and the people who know me, like they always say, like when I'm angry is when I play my best football. I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing or not, but like, say I get really wound up or a defender tries to clatter me, I feel like I am quite in my like primitive state on the pitch, and like I'm kind of like, if I think it was malicious, I'm not like, oh, like I do get annoyed sort of thing. So I will be like, I won't try and get them back, but I'll be like, I'm going to draw on my abilities here and actually just free myself to try and embarrass you, really, like bitten with the ball rather than
You haven't got a little book then with names in?
I need to get one. I need to start, to be honest. But,
everybody had one of those years ago.
Yeah,
and he's got a few of them.
Yeah,
I had to start a few new ones.
100%. But mentally, that is what I'm sort of. Yeah, that's how I feel. So I reckon I do like a bit of argy-bargy, to be fair. But obviously, as well, I don't want it to get in the way of say getting a booking or getting sent off. So, but I do really enjoy it. If there were no cards, or if it was like one purge game, we just absolutely can. I'd probably be the sort to love that. No rules.
But apart from the obvious one for you, Andy, Mr. Santos, was there anyone that you ever really enjoyed coming up against, but you had it was not nasty on the pitch, but it got really feisty, but then afterwards you had a real mutual respect and you shook hands and said, good game, mate, all the best for the rest of the season?
It was pretty much like that with most of them. It was, the game was like that. I mean, Paul Ince was, when he was at Man United, was just incredible. I mean, he was like a shadow. You couldn't get him off you, and he was, Steve McMahon was, he'd go into tackles and he was hard. I mean, hard as you like. But you never had a doubt of going in hard as well, because he'd never go over the ball. He was a fair player. Roy Keane was the same. Fair players. They weren't going in there to hurt you. They were going in there to win the ball fairly. So, loads. Football was like that. It was built around that years ago. It's not so much like that anymore. But yeah, you got the odd one that went over the top and done you, but you knew that and you protected yourself accordingly, by going in a higher than he did sort of thing. But it was most of the players were hard players. I mean, I remember we got promoted with Forest, and this is just for Brandon. This story, I was playing in the middle of the park with Jeff Thomas from Crystal Palace, or he was at Palace, but he was at Forest with me then, and we were up against Vieira and Petit in the middle of the park. I mean, and they were notorious. They were physical players, defensive midfielders, but they could play as well. World Cup winners. And there was me and Jeff, and we were like talking as you do with your partner at the time. And Jeff said, "Right, in the tunnel, we're going to when we stand there, we're just going to start barking at them like dogs." So there's me and Jeff Thomas stood in the tunnel at Highbury, looking at Emmanuel Petit and Vieira, who were like up there, and we're going. I'm barking at him, and I'm thinking, Jeff, are we really doing this? And he could keep barking, and I'm like, we got beat 1-0, I think, but you know what? It's hilarious. But yeah, it was. Football was like that back then.
I can't see that on. I can't see Moe and Akai doing that.
I'll try and persuade him
in the tunnel.
That was just for my comedic value. That.
So yeah, just to round it back, we're going to say Shemi's mate.
Yeah, Shemi's
played for Nigeria.
Oh, that was the question, yeah.
Yeah.
Was trying to put the strikers off.
Yeah.
Penalty shootout. Hey, it worked.
Yeah, it did work.
It worked.
I think a close second. But now this is the toxic side of being a fan that at times annoys me, but I am that fan of football as well. But Albion, obviously incredible keeper, like to play at that level, but there were some painful moments as an Arsenal fan. I just think,
he wants his own back.
Yeah, he does.
Throw him in the net and score past him. But
okay, so we're saying Shemi's mate and maybe Manuel and Munya.
Yeah, big Manny as well. But yeah, we'll go Shemi's mate. Yeah.
So that's it.
All right, now.
Game's over, and that takes us to the AJ's extra time challenge. So I'll hand over to the good man to my right-hand side.
You're going to enjoy this.
I feel like it.
You are going to enjoy this. It sounds pretty simple, but it's not. So, you've got 30 seconds to name as many Albion players, but they have to have made a first-team appearance. And I can't have nicknames. Got to have full names. Okay, so they could be past or present. And you got to do it in 30 seconds. So when you give me the thumbs up to go, I'll count you in.
Do you want a little taster of who's got what scores before you start?
Yeah, that would be,
Okay, so from the bottom up, Boaz Myhill, 15. Tony Bomber Brown, 15. Andy Hunt, 16. Alex Palmer, 18. Dara O'Shea, 24. And Sir Chris Brunt, 25.
Okay.
I didn't think Dara would be beaten. And Brunty coming in,
yeah,
did really well.
So what would you be happy with here? By the way, you will have the countdown clock.
Yeah, that makes
your
sense.
Oh, it's not
horrible.
easy.
Yeah,
Horrible.
that throws me off.
And don't feel pressured about forgetting one of your teammates that you're playing with at the current
This is it.
squad. If you leave any of them out, none of them probably watch this anyway. But
My mentality is I'm thinking to go with just some of the ones that come to mind first in history, and then when I get a mind blank, because I will get scared, we're just gonna go back to all right. Who's in the dresses? That's what
okay, tactics. God, you're the first person to actually have a tactic. Most people just. But yeah, okay, I like that. So
Andy's going to count you down. You're going to hear a whistle. From the whistle, you've got 30 seconds.
Are you ready?
No.
Okay, we'll give you a second to compose yourself. It's that penalty.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you take a deep breath, or do you have one final glance at where you're putting it?
Try not to, but get a sneaky one in. Yeah. Yeah, ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Andy Johnson, Craig Dawson, Boaz Myhill, Chris Brunt, James Morrison, Salomon Rondon, Stephen Sessignon, Shemi Ajay, Grady Diangana, Lukaku, who else? Peters, Eric Peters. Oh snap! This is killing me. Yann Villa, Kyle Bartley, Matty Phillips, Jake Livermore. That is horrible.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Wow.
I think you've done all right there. I wasn't counting. I was just over the moon. I was first.
That is hard.
I don't think you're going to be last.
Fair play to the boys.
Oh, no, because it's Romelu. And, we can't accept.
Fair enough.
So,
The rule state.
Brandon, I love you, right?
Fair enough. Nah, fair enough.
I love you.
Yeah. Love you too, man. Yeah.
Stephen Sessignon plays for Spurs. Stefan Sessignon.
You can't do this. You can't do this.
Does he still play for Spurs? I don't know, but I think he's played for Spurs at one point.
You see that video of Drogba where he goes, disgrace? Is it disgrace? You need to put that in the edit.
That was not bad,
That wasn't bad at all.
That was pretty good. You won't beat Jez with accents.
Yeah.
We pulled up at a ground the other week. Didn't we? What ground was it now?
Let's get one. Yeah, let's have one.
We pulled up he says, who shall I be? He said, Australian. And he couldn't find the names and that. And he had to talk for so long, but he had to keep this Australian accent up. Oh, man.
He said, how do you spell that? So I had to spell out my last name.
Oh,
in an Australian accent.
God.
It was brilliant.
Please, man. Tom Rogic, I hope you watch him.
Which one?
Spell out your surname in Australian.
In Australian accent, mate? No way. MULHOLLAND, mate. Bush.
And put another shrimp on the barbie.
Straight from Borough Bay.
So for me, mate, the other one there was Yann Villa. Technically now, he hasn't made a first team appearance yet. So
fair enough.
Whether we take that one off you as well.
Oh, wow, you are bottom of the league then.
We've got producer Luke over here saying 13. That's with Sessignon.
Do we need a definite answer, or can we let them see in the comments, did I pronounce it right or not?
I think we should leave this one open then to the viewers.
Yeah.
And the listeners.
Please, guys.
Would you give Brandon Thomas-Asante Stephen Sessignon? The rules are very clear. That's all I'll say.
They are clear.
They are very clear, but when we put this on YouTube, leave your comments. It's either a yes or a no for Stephen Sessignon.
I think you're going to get it. You'll get it.
Because this means, so what was the top scorer? Who scorer?
You're last.
It was,
there's a gap.
But I'm just thinking, if I get this or not dictates if I got more or less than half of the top. No?
No.
No.
Oh, my even.
Yes, it does actually.
Do you know what I mean? So it's an important point, guys.
Yes, it does.
Please.
Again, I think we're going to have to leave this one. We're going to have to leave this one open, aren't we, to the viewers? And
if it's left to the viewers, he's going to get it. They love him.
I'm looking at producer.
We all love him. Let's give him it. Let's take it away from the viewers.
Oh, was that not?
Oh, no, well, let's give him what about half a point for each one, so he gets a 4 point?
I'm seeing 3 discrepancies here. I'm seeing Stephen Sessignon I'm seeing Jan and Villa because at the point of recording, he hasn't yet made a first team appearance.
I think,
and Lukaku was just Lukaku instead of Romelu.
Yeah,
Lukaku.
but he's known as Lukaku. To be fair, nobody knows him as Romelu Lukaku.
I'm saying, great point. I'm saying, fair enough. Lukaku didn't say Rom. I'm saying Jan and Villa has not played yet, and that's unfair because I literally said, "Oh, you feeling good for tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah." So it just got in my head, Jan. But all right. But I think Steven Stefan is.
Yeah.
But then again, we've asked the public, so please, guys, please.
Okay, we'll leave it open, and I tell you what, after this has been on YouTube for a good month and a half, we'll get you into our office, mate, and we'll show you the comments.
What does that 1 point do to his position?
It still keeps him bottom.
Yes, I'm just getting that in because you ditched me on the quiz.
Now I know the pain. It hurts.
Oh mate, it hurts. What was sleep tonight?
Was it the countdown?
Yeah, like and I don't have myself down as that freezing person, but like when the tick tick, and then when it just sped up, I was gone. Head went.
Yeah.
Okay, let's spare you any more blushes and let's wrap this up quite quickly. Your favourite celebratory drink and takeaway to go to after scoring the winning goal in the World Cup final, past Shemi's mate in goal.
Ooh. Favourite takeaway.
Well, favourite food and drink that you'd have after a game.
I kind of lose my appetite after the game. Don't ask me why. But let's say it was one of those odd ones. Say end of the season, get promotion, got a few weeks off, so get home from the last game. It's like, all right, what am I eating? I'm saying
most of the kitchen, I would imagine. That's what we used to do.
It will be
chocolate crisps.
That's it. Just absolutely, just like my little man. Know where he gets it from. He literally just everything out the cupboards, opens the whatever it is, the biscuit packet, tips it out, and just starts just like that. Like, wow, where's he got that from?
Who's taught him that?
Yeah, like, come on, it's in there. But I would say Chinese, but very simple Chinese. Like I've just stuck with it from young. So it was just literally the chicken balls, the chips, and a bit of the sauce.
The sweet and sour sauce. You're on about the sweet and sour chicken balls.
Yeah, that's it. The sweet and sour chicken balls, sweet and sour sauce. It's nice and simple, but just takes me back to that place, you know.
Yeah.
And it was even the best ones are from. In fact, it couldn't be from anywhere. Let me not lie. Let me not do that.
You're not doing a sponsorship.
I'll take them from anywhere.
The Beijing house is very good by me as well.
Please give me some free
Monday night cash deal.
It was class. Okay. I'd say that. And drink.
Yeah.
Torn between ginger beer. I don't know what brand it is, but they do those conventional like little can.
Yeah, I know the ones you mean.
Black grape, KA. They're just both. Whoever made them, fair play.
It's not a trick question. I'm not trying to catch you out, you know. And there is a time and a place to have a drink. But do you not drink alcohol at all, or?
I'm not massive on it. To be fair, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm not one of those where like I've never drank before. And fair play, for example, it's a positive thing. So I'll say Tom Fellows like we like if we go out for a team meal, for example, like credit to him, like he's like like I've never, and I love that, and like I wouldn't. Like I'm like like keep it like that. And for me, like I say, I'm not like, for example, I'll go out or go for dinner and not have like I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm not massive on it, but
players don't seem too much anymore. It might be the odd glass of wine with a meal, like you said, or but it's not. You know, you're not going down a snooker club after training and having 15 pints of Stella. And,
that's
it. Not that that's what I used to do. No. Looking at me for.
Nah, that was never. That was. I think. No, but I've never actually like. If someone's like, what's your favorite drink? Like, would you have like a little tipple of? I'm like, nothing. Genuinely, nothing tastes nice to me. So I couldn't tell you my favorite, but obviously, like, But I'll probably say like KA. Black grape is a good little. Obviously, it's a fizzy drink, so I wouldn't have it too much. But
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
No, I'm not sure I have.
No, I've never heard of that.
It's like a little purple drink. Kind of both of them.
Where'd you get it? Is it like Sainsbury's or?
It's probably they do have them in Sainsbury's, but it's more like the corner shops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you step in one of there, and yeah, there'll be like multi-pack. Do not resell, and they've resold. Like one of those sorts of ads.
Shouldn't be sold separately.
Yeah, those ones. And you're like,
Brandon's in a £5 a can.
Yeah, you think, can I blackmail? If I like report him, do I get like free ones, or is that nah? But I'd probably say those as a guilty pleasure.
Should we go through your answers very quickly?
Cool.
So your dream match day looks like this. The dream roomie is Kieran Agard. You have a gaffer of Arsene Wenger. You want to play at Old Trafford, a mix between Old Trafford and Wembley. Your perfect pre-match playlist comes from an artist called Cleo Sol. The player that you would love to share a pitch with is Mesut Ozil for those little passes into the ground that just skip off the surface. The ideal scenario to score a goal is a World Cup final in the 85th minute, and the best goalkeeper to score a penalty against would be Shemi's mate. Plays for Nigeria, played for them at AFCON. And your celebratory drink and takeaway would be a Chinese with a ginger beer.
Yeah.
And a grapefruit?
Black grape.
Yeah, black
KA.
grape. Yeah.
That's some solid
So I
answers.
remember that, mate.
I'm
I'm looking for it.
That's some solid answers.
It's
ready for the
been
quiz
really
now.
that's been really interesting. It's been very different answers, but like I said earlier, just oozing positivity, and
Thank you.
it's been great to meet you. Really has. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm a massive fan of yours, and I love how you're developing and continue to develop as a player. From the moment you came as this rough diamond, you're really starting to show real qualities on the pitch now that are, really benefiting the team. So well done. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. No, there's a lot more work to do, and hearing that from the likes of yourself is encouragement, and I just want to pay it back to everyone at this club, and as I say, there's a lot more to come. So thank you.
Well, we hope so.
Just to wrap things up, the brain teaser, which we started the
Oh,
podcast with. How many appearances have you made, Brandon? How many goals have you scored? We'll have a very quick guess on this, and we'll wrap things up because John, our video editor, is screaming at me saying we've gone half an hour over. He's giving the evils behind the camera over there. Look at him.
17 goals, 48 appearances.
I'm saying 60 appearances.
You didn't even answer.
I
Didn't say how many goals he scored.
He's vicious,
That
isn't he?
really hurt.
He's vicious.
That was Luke, by the way.
18 goals. 17.
67 appearances, 19 goals.
Oh, I tell you what, I was close.
You can't give me a tick.
I went under 50 because I can't remember you saying, because like I said, we always say when a player hits the 50, and I can't remember you saying that he'd hit that. It doesn't surprise me.
No, yeah. To be fair, I did you a bit dirty there because I remember the post, but I didn't divulge whether I knew that or not.
Oh,
so
right,
I've
you have done me a minute.
Yeah, so
I know.
I needed the points.
Sneaky little wasp.
Right, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Brandon, thank you for joining us today. I know that we've been trying to get you on this podcast for a while and we just haven't been able to for a number of reasons. So thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed it.
100%. No, thank you guys so much both for having me, and I really enjoyed it.